Hi, Tracy Hugelmeyer here with VintagepreneurUniversity.com, where I help vintage sellers start, grow, and scale their business on Etsy. I also own my own vintage business, Rustic Eye, that I've had since 2013. And today I'm so excited to get started with a brand new episode of Friday Feedback. Before I introduce you to today's awesome seller, I just want to start with a quick disclaimer that whenever I give reviews, I want to make sure that you know that you don't want to go in and change everything at once, okay? Because you want to be able to keep track of what you're doing and the effects that those changes have. So just be mindful when you go to make changes to your shop before you do make changes. And also you want to make sure that you're making the right business decisions for your business. This is your business, right? So no matter who's giving you the advice, even if it's me, just have that internal check with yourself and say, okay, is this in line with what I want to do for my business and what my business stands for? Sound good? Okay, and if you're wondering how you can get your own free review for your Etsy vintage business, all the information's below in the notes, so check that out. You just have to become an Etsy junkie. It's super easy and free, so I tell you how in the notes below. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll jump behind the screen and see you there. Okay, so introducing Anne with Eclectic Trash Panda. Anne has been on Etsy only this year. I don't know when she joined, but wow, she has already 346 sales, which is amazing for her first year on Etsy. That is so cool, Anne. And just for reference, this is December 5th, so the fact that we're seeing all kinds of Christmas is great because you know when you come to Anne's shop right away that this is a holiday shop, that you're going to find those holiday vintage items. And it's also pretty clear from the beginning that maybe we can find some ornaments here. I don't know. We're going to find out. And just a quick side note, when I give my Friday feedbacks, I like to touch on different subjects on each review so that not every review is covering the same thing, but there are some things that I see over and over again. So some things are repetitive, and forgive me for that, but it's something that I see a lot, and that is the shop title right here, that little tiny space underneath your shop name. And what you want to do with this space right here is use it to optimize for outside SEO, search engine optimization. So as far as we know, Etsy does not look at this shop title for figuring out who to send to your shop, but the outside search engines definitely do. They're looking at, this comes up in a search if somebody is finding your shop, for example. It's right there in the search results, so it's one of the best places to optimize for your shop. So what you want to do is to pick 2 to 3 keyword phrases that describe most accurately what it is that you sell in your shop, and then repeat those 2 to 3 keyword phrases in different places of your shop, like your shop title, like your about section, like your announcement, and also in some of your item descriptions in different places in everywhere but your shop title. It should be in a natural way, written for humans, so you don't want to just list it out like keyword stuffing. But in your shop title, because you only have that small amount of space, you pretty much have to keyword stuff here. So what you would want to do is say something like vintage Christmas ornaments and vintage figurines or something like that. So you want to think, what is somebody going to be searching for? What would they type in to look for your items? And that's what you want to include as your keywords for your shop. And when you repeat those in the different places in your shop, then it helps reinforce to those outside search engines what it is you have to offer. Can you change it for the season? Like if you're not selling vintage Christmas ornaments all year long, you can. You want to try to stay pretty consistent, but you also want it to be accurate to what it is you're selling, okay? So what I always recommend is, instead of putting your cute little tagline here, bringing you neat vintage and fun things to repurpose, I love that. That's awesome. But I would recommend sticking that in your banner somewhere so that, first of all, people see it, because you don't see the little the shop title here when someone's on their phone, for example. You don't always see it. So if you put it in the banner, then somebody will see it and it'll be more clear to your visitors what it is, or your tagline, what your tagline is. And then the shop title, if somebody lands on your page and they see it, then it's also going to, if they land on it on a computer, for example, not on their phone, it's going to be clear the primary things that you're specializing in your shop too. So you're reinforcing that there. And the other thing that I would recommend for you, I've not seen a logo anywhere. And what a logo does, it really kind of helps reinforce your brand. So if somebody, as people start to recognize your brand and they see you on social media, or they see you in different places, then it helps to give your brand an identity. So branding is a very important part of any business. And I have actually a video where I show you how to make a free and super easy logo on Canva, one of my favorite tools. So I'm going to link that video for you and anyone else who's interested so you can check that out. Your logo, of course, is just one small piece of your branding, but it's a great place to get started. I also have a free training that I offer that really goes over some of the basics of branding. It's a good place to get started. I'm going to link to that for you as well in the notes, but you can check it out at vintagepreneuruniversity.com/free training. And the last little note up here before we move down is I do always recommend that you show your face in your Etsy shop. And that's just because that Etsy is such a unique platform that allows us to get that extra connection with our customers. And I do think that having your face in your Etsy shop kind of lets your customers see who you are. And when we can see who we're talking to, that allows us to better connect with that person, right? I mean, that makes sense. So just show your face. I would recommend doing it here and also down below where you talk, you list who's in your shop. And I'll get to that in a minute. I did want to touch really quick on your item sections. Again, you want to think about, just like your shop title up here, you want to be optimizing for the outside search engines because they can see these as kind of, think about it as different pages of a website. So they are looking at what it is on those pages of your website that you have to offer. And if you want them to send traffic to those pages, you have to be very clear about what it is you offer. And it has to be in search terms that somebody would be looking for. So for example, probably people aren't going to search for fun things to collect, or treasures for the home. Those just aren't things that, while they're cute and they're really fun to put in your shop, your section titles, they aren't doing you any favors as far as optimizing for that outside search engines, those outside search engines. So think about this in terms of searchable terms. So even if you put vintage Halloween, people are going to search for vintage Halloween. If they search for Halloween, that's going to be, a bazillion things. But if you can narrow it down to vintage Halloween, you have a much better chance of getting found. And the more specific you can be, the better. But I know you don't have a lot of space there. So that's just something to think about. Okay, the next thing I wanted to kind of touch on is your prices and the fact that you're offering free shipping on your items. And free shipping, as we all know, is a very touchy subject especially for vintage sellers, because most of us are selling things that are all over the board, from heavy to light, and that becomes very complicated when you're selling a bunch of different things. And it's a very personal business decision for each Etsy vintage seller. But I think you're the first vintage seller that I've seen personally that has offered free shipping on every single item when you have such a range of items like this. So the reason I'm bringing it up is because I noticed that some of your items after shipping, like let's say, I'm looking at kind of more your heavier items or your bigger items. So let's take, for example, this Ansley Cottage Garden vase, this really pretty vase with the butterfly and the flowers. Love it. Okay, so here's the thing. I know that this is going to cost anywhere from what, $12 to $18 to ship it, depending on where it's going, and that kind of thing, and how you package it. But also, it's glass, so you're going to have to spend a lot of time carefully packaging it. And by the time all that gets done, let's just say it costs $14 to ship it. So now you're down to $13 if I did the math right there. $13 that you're actually going to be making on this item. Now let's say it's going to take you 15 minutes to package it and everything. Well, you got to think, how much is 15 minutes of your time worth and all those packaging supplies? So subtract that off. Well, let's take another couple dollars off for that. Now we're down to where was I? 14. So let's say now we're down to about $12. And you have to think at that point about your profits and what it's worth to you to actually sell this item. So is it worth the $12? And, I don't know how much you paid for it, but the bottom line here is, and the point I'm trying to make is, you have to be very careful about your profits. So here's the thing. Offering free shipping is a personal choice, and normally I don't comment about this, but because I've noticed that your pricing is also a little bit on the lower side, that I'm concerned for your profits is what I'm trying to get at. So I would say, look at your pricing, make sure that you're actually making enough profit to make this worthwhile for you, because the last thing you want to do is spend so much time and energy, and at the end of the day, it's not worth it. You're not making enough profit. So be very careful about that, and don't be worried about pricing your items higher, because that's what you want to aim towards. You want to aim towards those higher end buyers, because that's going to make the most profitable business for you. So your business decisions are not, how can I price this low so somebody will buy it? That's not what you want to, that's not the mindset you want to have. You want to make sure you're making enough profits, and then design your branding and your whole business about finding those buyers who are willing to pay those premium prices. Okay. So on your bigger items, I definitely think you need to look at bumping those prices up a little bit if you're going to have free shipping. And then on your smaller items, let me go back to one real quick. Okay, I will just pick this, the souvenir patch just as an example. Okay, so that's your lowest price item, so maybe not fair of me, but just to kind of make the point here. So this is going to cost anywhere from $3 to $4 to ship, right? Depending on where it's going, because you can ship it USPS first class. So then you're down to $2 to $3 for the item. Really, at this point, unless somebody's buying multiples of things, then you're almost, again, it comes back to, are you wasting your time by making a $2 to $3 minus whatever you paid for that in profit? And even when you come up to like the patterns, again, subtract $3 to $4 for shipping, and you're down to about, $5 or whatever. And then if somebody's only buying the one pattern, then you are kind of down low with your profits again. And so something that you might think about for those lower price items that are going to be shipping, first class, are only going to cost you $3 or $4 or whatever, or even if they're going to cost you more, you might think about the free shipping guarantee, because that way at least they'd have to spend $35 before you're shipping this out for free. So at least they're buying, some multiple things, and it's making it worth your time and efforts at that point. So just something to consider. Again, it's completely a personal business decision, but I think, to offer free shipping or not, and how you're going to incorporate that in your shop and in your business. But I think what stood out for me was, coupled in with the way that you're pricing your items, which is kind of on the lower end, I'm concerned for your profits. So hopefully that makes sense. I just want you to have a successful business. And I think that really looking at your pricing and the way you're offering the free shipping guarantee would really benefit you in that regard. So yeah, just to reinforce that, don't overlook, I guess is the right way to say it, your profits, because that is what it boils down to at the end of the day. You have to be making a profit or you're not going to have a sustainable business, right? All right, so here we are down at shop members, and I just wanted to point out, super cool that you added your husband here and that he's your mailman. I love that. It adds a lot of personality to your shop, just the way you wrote these. Super cute. I would definitely fill in your pictures here, yours and his. And there's a couple reasons for that. Like I mentioned above, it helps your customers get that personal connection with you just to that next level. But also, whenever Etsy provides a space for you, you never want to leave it blank. Number one, because Etsy is looking for, or I don't want to say looking for, but they care about people looking like they have a complete shop. And if they provide something for you, then you want to make sure that you're using it and not leaving it blank. And then the other reason is you just always want your shop to look as complete as possible. It'd be kind of like walking into a department store and they have a big frame, like there's supposed to be some display there, but then the frame is blank. So kind of like that analogy, I guess, just making sure your shop is complete as possible so that you are presenting it in its best light to your customers. And I love your story here. It really gives that insight as to, what your shop is about, which is awesome. I would recommend adding some pictures in here, and then also your shop keywords like we talked about. You want to include those in a natural way. You can just add a sentence or two at the top of it saying what it is you offer and incorporating those top keyword phrases for your shop there, just so you're optimizing your shop. And I have to say it because I can't get through a shop review overlooking this little piece here. I don't accept returns, exchanges, or cancellations. And that is always going to be your own personal business decision. But I do recommend that you accept returns and exchanges and cancellations, because when you do so, you open up the opportunity for sales just that much more, because you're removing a barrier that some of your customers might have. Not all of them. I mean, obviously you're getting sales, but especially when you raise your prices, like I'm suggesting that you do, you want to make sure that your customers feel comfortable making that commitment with you, and by accepting returns, exchanges, and cancellations, that's one way to do that. And also, I would challenge you to think about, how many times in the past year has this come up? Has someone reached out to you, or the time that you've been on Etsy? How many times has somebody reached out to you and said they wanted to return something or exchange something or cancel an order? Regardless of what your policies are, just how many times has it happened to you? And then kind of weigh that. Would it be worth, dealing with those couple of times that it comes up to potentially get more sales, basically? So you're weighing your options there. All right. I really like the consistency of the way your photos are done. You have a similar background in all of them, which helps to tie your shop together, which is really cool. And you have some really cute Christmas. Obviously you've got Christmas all over your shop, which is perfect for this time of year. And you've got some accents like this, this little piece of pine here, and that helps all kind of bring those Christmassy touches, and that's great to do for every season. You want to, bring in, even if you're not selling those type of seasonal objects, you can still bring in the season with some of your props. But a lot of times less is more when it comes to that. So just a little bit here and there is great, and you do that really well. All right, so let's jump right into an item to review. I chose this cute little Hallmark ornament, and we'll start with the photos. I loved this photo because even in the thumbnail, you can't see this bottom part here, and it's just looks like he's flying, and it's so cute. You can kind of see it up in the corner here, what it looks like, and it's very clear. And I think that this first photo is really good, that it would capture someone's attention in a feed, and it really stood out to me. So really good job with that photo. And I love that you include the box here. That's awesome. That's showing them, if somebody collects, I know these are very collectible, these Hallmark ornaments. So if somebody collects it, that's probably really important for them that they're going to get the box. And it might even increase the value too. I'm not sure. I don't have any expertise in Hallmark ornaments, but I would check on that. And you do a really good job of showing all the angles here. He's just the cutest. Look at him from the back. And so your photos are great because they're showing all the different angles, and then you also show size here and scale. Great, because you have the ruler. That's what I like to use too, a little vintage ruler for my smaller items. And there's really, you even got the height down. That's awesome. So you're covering all your bases here. I can't really think of anything else that you'd want to show unless there's something on the box that is maybe important for collector, that maybe the back of the box might be important. So I don't know, just something to think about. So the photos are great. I don't really have any other recommendations for your photos there. The title, The Flying Squirrel Ornament, 1995 Hallmark Keepsake Ornament Air Express. You are on point here with the current recommendations that Etsy is telling us as far as what should be in our title, 2 to 3 long tail keyword phrases, and they recommend that you keep it short. Really what that means is don't put in stuff here that is just kind of keyword stuffing, and it should be written for humans. So this is great. I probably would put, if it were me, I would probably put this first because I think somebody would be more likely searching for a specific Hallmark ornament because this is a collectible type of item. So you might even put that first, but just a suggestion. And then if you wanted to put a third phrase here, my recommendation would be to think about who this ornament would be for. So maybe unique gift for mail carrier, for example. Just as a thought, if you wanted to add some more keywords there. And again, you want to think in terms of what people would be searching for. Okay, looking at your item description now, the first thing I noticed right here, you basically copy and paste your title, your item title right here at the top of your item description. And unfortunately, that is considered something you don't want to do because of, again, as far as we know, Etsy does not look at your item descriptions in their search algorithm. However, the outside search engines, they can look at everything they can and do look at everything in your entire site and all your pages. And what they do not like is keyword stuffing. So you definitely want to avoid keyword stuffing, but instead you can still include these keyword phrases. You just have to do it in a natural way written for humans. And you almost do that right here. You could just say, this is a 1995 vintage Hallmark keepsake ornament of a brown flying squirrel. And basically you're saying the same thing, but in a natural way written for humans. So that would be my recommendation, is to take this out and just change this a little bit so that it incorporates those keywords in your description here, in your paragraph here. And then you're doing a really good job of incorporating other keywords like Air Express mailbag, red cape, blue mail hat. those are all really good keywords that you're incorporating in your description in a natural way written for humans. So that's what you want to try and do throughout your description. Just keep doing that. You're definitely on the right track. Okay, right here where you say I have lots of fun items at Eclectic Trash Panda, happy shopping, that's excellent. What I also recommend that you do here is include a link back to either your shop or another item that they might be interested, or one of your sections. The idea here is twofold. One, you're going to be sending them back to your shop and encouraging them to look around. And two, when you include those internal links, it helps reinforce to the outside search engines that all your pages are interrelated, and that can help your search engine optimization as well. Love, love, love your fast shipping here in one business day. That's excellent. I know that that's not possible for everybody and everybody's business, but when you can do that, it's definitely going to have a positive impact on your business. So that is awesome. Just a quick peek at your tags, and I think you might be missing a couple tags here because I think these first 4 are the ones Etsy automatically puts in for what category you're in. So I think you had 10. So you've got 3 more here, I believe. Don't quote me. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I think you have 3 more here. Make sure you're using all your tags because that just increases your chances to getting found. So if you're stuck with keywords, there's lots of things you can do to find keywords, but one thing that I recommend, especially for right now, is to, because it's gift giving season, is to, think about who this is a gift for. So definitely put something like gift for, grandpa, or whatever it is that you think that applies. And you can even use things like gifts under $20, for example, or whatever applies, so that if somebody is searching for those types of things, you have a chance of getting found in those searches. Also, Etsy likes to pull, things, especially like gifts under 20, or, those different categories like that. They like to use, give those types of search results in the emails they send out as well, where they are, kind of suggesting categories for people to look at. So think about that. But Anne, I just want to say overall, you're doing a super amazing job because your sales speak for themselves. I would say, like I mentioned, your biggest goal or your next focus at this point should be looking at your pricing and making sure your profits are worth it, basically. Make sure that you're making enough money to make this all worthwhile for you, because it's a lot of time and effort and everything else. So when you have a business, profits are super, super important. All right, so that wraps up Anne's review. Thank you so much, Anne, for volunteering your super cute shop. I wish you all the luck. You're off to a really, really great start. Go check out her shop. I've linked it below for you so you guys can all check it out as well. And make sure to check out my free training that I mentioned at vintagepreneuruniversity.com/free training, so you can get some of those really basics down, like branding and pricing your items. I think you'll really find it helpful. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That really helps me keep these videos going for you. And subscribe to my channel and click the little bell as well so you get notified whenever a new video comes out. Thank you so, so much for joining me today, and have a really great rest of your day. Bye.